Hello and welcome again to another episode of One Starfish. With our mission is to help change the world one starfish or one person at a time. I am very excited for our guest today. Jaime Villalovos and her husband Sean run an amazing financial company for the last 23 years while raising 4 kids. Right now they're 6 to 16, so do the math on 23 years. They've been raising them the whole time, and it's really exceptional. Really recommend following this lady on Instagram. She shares a lot of value on entrepreneurship, on motherhood, and all kinds of stuff. As always, rate, review, share. That's how we get the word out. Thank you so much for being on here, Jaime.
I'm so excited to be on. Thank you. I love what you're doing.
Awesome. So cool. So let's get into stuff. Like I said, we'll see how much we can pick your brain in a short amount of time for everybody. So Jaime has been running this business. Her mission is into philanthropy, equipping leaders, building leaders. You know, what got you like 23 years? So where did things start to shift for you? I mean, at the beginning, was it kind of just survival phase, make it happen? And then where did it start to shift to, helping others and giving back and, all of that?
So, I started my business. I was 22, actually. I looked like I was 12. I had grown up in Montana, northeastern Montana, very tiny town of about 300 people. So I had moved out to California to, the idea was to pay my way through school, get a good job. And after about 4.5 years in corporate America, I was sick and tired of not having any appreciation, not learning, not growing, basically doing the same thing day in and day out. And I hit an income ceiling. So I couldn't make any more money. I was working 6-7 days a week. So I wanted to have my own business. I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but again, very young, lacked leadership experience. And so luckily I met a woman, a spouse of one of the guys in my company who introduced me to our firm. And again, 22 in the financial industry, it's a very male dominated industry. So it was a big struggle. I had to learn, finances. I had to learn leadership skills. I had to learn management skills. I had to learn how to get clients. Again, I didn't know very many people in California. And so it was a big struggle. I was living in this little tiny 600 square foot apartment and sometimes paying my bills on credit card and wondering if I was even going to make any money or make it at all, let alone be a successful entrepreneur, building other leaders. But about the first 18 months, I just threw my heart into it. I loved that, again, I was learning, growing, but more than anything, helping and serving others. I was very passionate about what I did. I felt like it was strengthening families. One of the causes of divorce is arguments in the home about money. So I felt like I was making a big impact and I love what I did. But I just became a student of human nature, of of sales, of leadership. And that first 18 months was a grind for sure. First one in the office, last one to leave. But after about 18 months, it leveled out a little bit. I had, some steady income, wasn't making it big by any means, but I could have a little bit of breathing room. And I felt like I could then start learning to be an entrepreneur and not just in my business all the time, but more working on my business and thinking about expansion and how can I open more offices and get into Canada. And that's kind of, where it started. I just was seeking out good mentors and good leaders that have kind of been on the same path as me. They were just further down the path and started picking their brains and trying to avoid mistakes. And I was very, very coachable, very humble with the fact that I knew nothing. And I was willing to listen and implement just kind of at the speed of any instruction that they would give me.
And I think that's so key out there and not always easy for some people. Yeah. I know when I started, my business, I was not super coachable. And so sometimes it takes some work on that. So what's something like, if you got someone listening to this, that's like, I want what you have, but maybe they aren't super coachable. Did you ever have times that you like struggled through that? Or was that just something that naturally kind of came to you?
I didn't have a choice. I knew nothing. I knew nothing about leadership, my industry. And so I wanted to win. And so if you're, coachability to me was, you're either 100% coachable or you're not coachable. And there are no perfect leaders or mentors. So you obviously will know that 100% the instruction you're going to get is not going to be right, because there's just, no perfect leader. But I can't pick and choose which ones I'm going to listen to. So I just was 100% coachable to every instruction and implemented. And for the most part, the results came the way that they told me it would. So I think that coachability is the key to speed and growing your business faster. I thought about it, these guys that I was reaching out to, it was a privilege for them to invest time in me. They didn't have to, but successful people usually will. If you were coachable, if you're a waste of their time, they're not going to continue to give you instruction. So I wanted them to want to work with me. And so I would seek out mentors and try to bring value to them. Maybe I would help, do some stuff in the office, like a free admin person, work for free. I was willing to do that. Maybe I would call their secretary or their assistant and say, hey, what's his favorite thing? Where's his wife's favorite restaurant? Their date night place, or, does he have a certain bottle of wine he likes, or whatever. And I would send him a gift and just tell him, hey, you don't know me that well, but you've already impacted my life so much. And, hopefully we'll get to spend time in the future when I've earned it. And so I would kind of, before they would even coach me, I would put my name in their head, and then hopefully try to earn that time. And if they gave me any time, man, that is precious. If they give me any instruction, it's like this, it's like I'm here and I want to be where they are. In between me and them, there's like a landmine of mistakes that I can make. Right. And they've already got there. So I can be on this side of the landmine saying, hey, which way do I step? Just tell me which direction to step in, so that when I get there on the other side, I'm happy and I'm intact. I haven't lost any limbs. I haven't have a leg blown off or any of these things. Right. And so I think a lot of people make a lot of mistakes along the way, and they learn the hard way. And before they get to where they want to go, they're already burnt out.
They've lost the limbs in the mind. Yeah, that's so true. And then you've gone into a lot of philanthropy, and that is something that's really close to your heart, from what I gather. And tell us a little bit what started you down that, and I don't know, wherever you want to go with that.
As I started to work with other people, like growing my business as an entrepreneur, opening new offices, obviously I had to learn how to lead. I had to learn how to build leaders, get leadership in place in all of my hundreds of offices, so that I could have my time freed up to raise my family, to travel, and just to scale my business easier. So I put a lot of subsystems into place. I taught a lot of leadership classes. And then over the years, where I felt the most passionate about wasn't just teaching people how to be successful in business. And I've built a lot of multiple six-figure, even seven-figure earners. But where I was most passionate was helping people find happiness, joy in that journey. I'd have couples come to me and say, Jaime, we're working so hard. We're making $250,000 now, but now we're fighting. Or I'm making $500,000, but I don't get to see my kids anymore. And so teaching them how to have the balance, how to do it right, so that they absolutely love their life and love what they're doing. And so I became a big student of the science of happiness. And one of the keys to happiness is progression, personal growth. But another is focusing on others. And so I started to get very affiliated with really great people that are incredible entrepreneurs that are also making a big difference in the world. One of my friends, John Maxwell, have been some great places with him, and Jeff Levitan. I've been to just all over the world. We built orphanages in Uganda and Nicaragua and different places, and I just the seed was planted in my heart to for philanthropy. And so now my biggest goal is in all my companies and businesses is to not just have employees or even teammates or even self-employed entrepreneurs in my business, but to build leaders, to equip these people with strong leadership skills and teach them how to make money and attract and retain wealth and be good stewards of that wealth. If they have money and they have leadership skills, we can change the world. They can change the world. You could be super passionate about something, but if you have no money, you're not going to get the job done. Okay. So I'm building these leaders that are philanthropists, my goal is to light that fire in them of philanthropy. So I just took my gals, a girl, Johanna Mockett, she's about a $500,000 earner, and Dana, who's about, I don't know, like $600,000 earner, to Uganda a couple years ago. And we just sat there hugging the babies in our orphanage. They were lined up just to be touched and hugged, and, and I, just so that I could show them, yes, you're amazing moms, and yes, you're amazing business women, but look how a little bit of money goes, just a little bit, the difference that you can make, and for these orphans, or, these different causes. And so, again, all these people that I'm building, I think of myself, I've kind of given myself a title of an impactpreneur, and I'm a global child advocate. And so I'm passionate about a lot of different charities. I mentioned All for One. Operation Underground Railroad is for, child human trafficking. The Malleola Foundation that helps kids with cystic fibrosis. It could be orphans, but I'm a child advocate. And again, so all these leaders that I'm building, entrepreneurs, I want to spark that little fire in them. And you know what? If they are doing something, if they have bigger dreams outside of themselves, they'll continue to grow. They'll go past that 500,000. They'll go past that 600, that 750. They'll continue to grow because their goals keep growing and they keep growing. And I don't care if one wants to end sex trafficking, or one wants to, build an orphanage in Philippines, and another one wants to help kids with autism. I'm just trying to inspire them and equip them with the skills and the tools so that they can go change their world.
Wow, this is so good. I love it. It's so cool. And, touching on that, of course, we have, and I want to touch on it because it's in the pictures if your guys are watching on YouTube. She just wrote an amazing book too. So not only is she doing all this other stuff, she's also writing books, which is not easy, and doing an amazing book. It's called Happy and Strong. I'm really excited to get it and read it. Tell us a little bit about what motivated you to write a book, to take the time, and a little bit about what it's at. And guys, make sure, we're gonna have links in the bio, make sure to order this book, pre-order it. If you listen to it after, order it, whatever. But what kind of motivates you to do that, Jamie?
Yeah, well, people have told me to write a book for forever, and I didn't want to do that. I didn't want the distraction from my businesses. I grew up in poverty. I grew up in a trailer on the edge of town, on food stamps, welfare, these things, and now have become, a top fraction of 1% of earners in the world. As a female, I don't even know where I would be as far as income earners in the world. And so I had a good friend named Ed Milet that encouraged me a few years ago, kind of a couple of years before COVID. He said, Jamie, I coach a lot of people, but you're the only female that I know that's making the multiple 7 figures, but also has 4 kids, but also is traveling the world, also has this amazing, inspiring life, great marriage, and doing all this philanthropy. How do you do it all? I want you to get that out there. And so he encouraged me to do these workshops, Happy and Strong workshops for entrepreneurs. And couples would come in, and also individuals, women would come in and say, how do you balance it all? How do you do it all? And we would go through these, and I loved it. I just loved it. And then COVID hit. And when COVID hit, it was like I was doing free Happy and Strong workshops just for mental wellness, because everyone, it seemed, was in their own little form of depression. 100%. And hurting in so many ways. And I saw people that were so successful. And I saw it in 2008 financial crisis too. People that were making millions, and then boom, their business was gone. They fell apart. Marriages fell apart. And I just, it just kept, having this impression in my mind, and my heart, that I needed to write this book. And I don't know if it was divine or whatever, but I kept saying, no, no, I don't want to do that. I'm too busy for that.
It's a lot of work.
Too much on my plate. No, thank you. Ask someone else. And it just kept coming to me that I needed to do it. And so I eventually said, okay, I committed to writing the book. And as soon as that happened, as soon as I committed to writing the book, all kinds of wonderful people came to my aid out of just nowhere. My mom called me and said, hey, I'm bored in quarantine. I'm coming to your house to hang out with the kids. So she could do the pickups and the drop-offs and the cooking. I had a lot taken off my plate so I could knock this out and get it done. And and it really actually wasn't that hard to write because I really did feel inspired to do it. And I know that it's going to help a lot of people. Again, I just don't, my idea of success is that you're happy and strong. I see so many people chasing happiness. Well, when I get married, I'll be happy. When I get this promotion, I'll be happy. Or when I'm making this much income, or when I move, I'll be happy, or whatever. And it's not, that's not how it works. You have to be able to create happiness in your life. And so I see so many people chasing big goals, entrepreneurs, high achievers chasing big goals, but they're still not fulfilled when they get there. What use is it if you're making $1 million and you're divorced and your kids won't talk to you? Or you get there and you're unhealthy now because you've sacrificed your wellness, and now you're spending all your money buying that back and trying to get better. And so, this has been a lot of trial and error over the last 23 years. And I've been very blessed to have some phenomenal coaches and friends in my life, like Ed Milet, like John Maxwell, like Rich and Cindy Thawley, just wonderful people that have poured into me. Linda and Richard Iyer are two of my favorites. They've endorsed the book. Ed wrote the foreword. John Maxwell's promoting it very much. So I'm just excited. I mean, Sean Covey of Franklin Covey is one of the endorsers on the back of the book. These are guys that have taught how to balance it all, have it all, and win at the highest levels in life. But faith and family can come first. And you can enjoy your journey and continue to keep growing. I just don't want people to burn out. I see it over and over again, and I don't want people to give up when it gets tough. And so I teach them all my secrets on those things.
Wow. So like I said before, make sure you go to get the book, get it for your teams, get it for, people in your life, get it for yourself, all this stuff. But what are some tips out of there without sharing, obviously, everything? We don't have time for that all, but, and I want people to buy the book, but what are a couple tips that come to mind that can help people, quote, balance? Because it is something people always talk about, being an entrepreneur and a family, especially the moms out there, that are just like, man, how do I raise my kids and do all that?
Yeah. So, well, the first half of the book is how to win in business, how to get to that 7-figure. And the middle of the book is becoming a leader and building other leaders, again, so that you can free yourself up and have lifestyle. And the whole second half of the book is all that stuff that everybody wants to know. How do you have it all? How do you balance? How do you add more joy and create more memories versus just getting things done, and the bonding of the family and prioritizing and doing it all. So, but also the science of happiness. That's the second half of the book. But I would say, especially for the moms out there, we tend to add too much to our plate. We tend to have a hard time saying no. So I have scripts to set boundaries for all the time suckers in your life, sometimes it's your family, sometimes it's the school asking you to lead the bake sale, or, be the PTA president, or all these things that are not growing your faith, your family, your fitness, or your business. And so, I teach people how to set the boundaries, how to take things off your plate. I have a class called Streamline Your Life in 7 days to overcome the overwhelm. Again, I love being busy. I'm probably the busiest person I know, but there's a difference between busy and fulfilled and adoring your life, and busy and chaotic and having anxiety and stressed out all the time. You know what I mean? So kind of teach you how to first, get all those things off your plate, set the boundaries, then identify all the resources. So we have so many more resources typically in our life than we're using. And as women, especially, we tend to just, okay, if it's going to be done, I'll do it myself, right? Or if it's going to be done right. And so it teaches you how to say no, how to identify the resources, how to delegate to all these resources, and then how to prioritize. And so, I think that where we spend our time is where our heart is. And so a lot of times we can look at our life. And for me, I was spending my time with all of this. I was reacting to everything, all my team, all of my business, all of my everything going on, my email, everything. And then next, when I had time after that, was obviously my kids were the biggest priority. And then after that, poor Sean, my husband, was getting none of the time. And then guess who was 0 time? Me. Nothing, right? And so I made myself sick. I got an incurable autoimmune disease called lupus, which I applied all the stuff I learned in business and making money and wealth and law of attraction, think and grow rich, all that stuff I learned. I applied it to my health and was able to cure myself of this incurable autoimmune disease in about 18 months. But I talk about that in my wellness chapter in the book, and how to not burn out and how to get your personal wellness plan in place. But what I learned from all that was, you have to do self-care. You have to set those boundaries. You have to take care of you. And first of all, you have to figure out what your psychological needs are and get them met. Because if you're stressed out, if you're overwhelmed, if you're tired, and you're not doing the proper self-care, first of all, figuring out what that is, but then getting it in place, then guess what? You're not the best business leader. You're not the best entrepreneur. This applies to males and females, by the way. And then you're also not the best parent and, spouse. You're probably short with your kids. You're probably looking at your phone a little too often when you should be, one-on-one, making eye contact and having, these great conversations. So, you take care of you. Then next priority, besides maybe your faith, is your spouse. I see so many people have it backwards. They think that the kids are the most important thing in their life and everything revolves around their children. Your spouse, if you're married, is the most important. The best thing you can do for your kids is show them a happy, loving marriage so that they know how to do that for themselves in the future. They know what they're looking for. They know what they're not going to settle for anything less. So you put your spouse as your priority, then kids, then everything else. And so I think a lot of women and men, because I do this coaching all the time, but especially women will get this mommy guilt, right? That's when they're working, they're thinking, oh my gosh, am I spending enough time with my kids? When I'm at home, maybe I'm thinking, oh my gosh, am I doing enough in the business? Am I still competitive? Am I neglecting my team? And so it's constantly this distraction. And as an entrepreneur, you can't have any distraction. It's going to be destructive to your business. So, I had to overcome that. I had to learn how to balance it all. I had to learn how to tweak my schedule. I had to learn how to schedule certain things in to my schedule so that I could go all out, so that I could compete, so that I could, be a maniac in business, but not have that mommy guilt. And I feel like as busy as I am, I probably spend more time with my kids than anybody that works a 9 to 5. I know that.
Yes, and it's very intentional time.
Yeah, we do date nights, we do mommy dates, we do family nights once a week, we do mini honeymoons once a quarter. We do all these different things that are already pre-planned into the calendar. The family night once a week is probably one of the most important. And we have a council in our family, and everybody's an equal member of this council. And we get out our planners and we coordinate our, calendars. And I have 4 kids, and I think that a lot of times, Americans and Canadians, they again, everything revolves around their kids, and their kids are overbooked and they're running around dropping their kids off all the time. And so, we just don't do that. Our kids are in one thing at a time, and we don't let our schedule interfere with our family time. And so we have our family night, and we get our calendars coordinated, and everybody's in communication really often. I also do a partnership meeting with my husband once a week, where we go through, business needs, household needs, our relationship needs. We have a lot of communication. I think communication's a big part of this. You'll learn that in the book of how to schedule, how to learn these, I think hacks and tips and tools, and I have all kinds of charts, things like with the kids, if you're finding that you're hounding them to do homework or to do chores, that will end when you read this book. I'll teach you how to do that so that you can build some self-reliant children, and you're not going to have to waste time that could be spent on growing, the business, which then enhances every other area of your family.
Wow, that's so good. And you talked about health and wellness. I'm not sure if you know or not, but I have MS. So I've been on the journey of healing that. So it's interesting where you've gone with that too. Like I said, I can't wait to read this book. It's going to be absolutely incredible. So if you ran into someone in the store and they said, Jamie, I have, I just struggle with all of this. What's one, like I said, get the book. Well, what's one, like you said pre-planning your day. I got that out of there. That's kind of like one step. Is there like a couple like specific, like really, really tangible things that like someone should do to be happy? What creates happiness? How do you find out I think this is even something. How do you even find out what it is that makes you happy? How did you figure that out?
So that's getting clarity. I think most people drift through life. They don't have clarity on where they're going, what they want, or what, like you said, what makes them happy, because we're so busy. Again, life is going on. We're reacting to everything that's going on with our families, with our kids, with our business, with what's going on in the news and in the world and the pandemics and whatever's going on. We're busy. And so we drift through life kind of being blown around whichever direction we get tossed. And so this year will look a lot like last year and the year before. And so if you want to be intentional to create this dream life, the book is called Happy and Strong. And then the subtitle, Create Your Dream Life While Enjoying the Journey. Okay. And so that's what the book, that's what I want for you. I want you to have what I have. And I want to show you how. So, but clarity. So the people that are like the top 1%ers, they, in anything, in sports and entrepreneurship, they invest a lot of time in themselves in figuring out what makes them fired up, what makes them passionate, what makes them emotional. There's a book called Think and Grow Rich. There's a whole chapter on using your emotions. Mm-hmm. And it's very, very powerful. So I would tell you to get clarity first on where you're going, what you want, what would make you, what you want your life to look like. Okay. And it could be short-term or long-term. Most of us have small vision in the beginning, right? We can't think, too far out. And that's okay. Just practice dreaming. And a lot of us have turned our dream machines off. We've been in corporate America a long time. We haven't had someone saying, hey, what if? And so I would tell you to say, if you had a magic wand, or if money were no object, what would you be doing with your time? And then sit down, maybe even just have a legal pad on your bed and just say, like, what would you want your life to look like? And who would you want to be? And start to get a clear picture of that second version of you, that best version of you. What would she be doing? How would she communicate? What contributions would she make? And so dig deep. Here's the deal. There's a great quote that I like from not Napoleon Hill. It's actually Mark Twain. He says, I can help anyone get anything they want out of life. I just can't find anybody who knows what they want. Right. True. And so dig deep of like, what pisses you off? Is there an injustice out there that you would love to correct? If you had all the money in the world, what cause would you be donating money to? Maybe someone in your family, what would you love to do for them that would make you so happy? Maybe you want to take your parents on a dream vacation, so just write all that stuff down and think big. Think really big. Once you have it all written down, say, does this really stir my soul? Does it scare me to think if it's even possible? Because if not, it's probably not the right one. Redo it, make it even bigger. And so then you get it built in your mind that, you freaking can't even wait to get out of bed in the morning. You're like washing yourself very fast in the shower so you can get out of that shower and get to work. If that's happening, then that's the right goals. That's the right plan. My goals, my vision, my whatever, it's called an emotional game plan. It's to refocus me and re-energize me every day. And it gets me excited because here's the deal. The reason that most people are unhappy is because they're stuck. They're not progressing. Why? Because they're focused on where they're at, their current circumstance. When you focus on where you're at, you tend to stay where you're at. Okay, think about it as if you're like running this marathon and you can't see because it turns right around the corner and you don't even see where you're going. Well, when you get the clarity on what it is and why you're so excited and what's going to happen next in your life, then it's like you've put the finish line right there. You can see it. It's still pretty far out, but you can see it. And every day you're focused on it, trying to move it closer to today. Okay. Along the way, there's all kinds of hurdles, all kinds of adversity, trials, sickness, death in the family, freaking pandemics, all kinds of adversity. Your business is going to blow up on you a few times, right? You're going to have all these things. And when it happens, when you hit the hurdle, typically people sit there and freaking stare at the hurdle. Woe is me. Why is this happening? And they're sitting here and all they can see is the hurdle right in their face.
Right.
And that's what they're focused on, their problems. They talk about their problems. They go online to talk, to think about their problems. They talk to they go to bed. They go to bed at night and bring their problems to bed with them, with their spouse. And they're just making themselves miserable. Instead, if you are focused on where you're going, you still have the problems. All the champions face adversity. They all had the same problems as you. They just did it anyway, because they were very clear on what was next. Mm-hmm. And they were able to keep themselves happy, still dissatisfied, but blissfully dissatisfied in this journey. So as they encountered these trials, hurdles, instead they said, okay, this sucks. Mm-hmm. How am I going to get around this one? Who can I reach out to? What resources can I reach out to? What mentor can drag me across this one? Maybe I have to crawl instead of run for a little while, but they keep moving forward. They keep progressing. They keep becoming a better version of themselves. And they keep feeling better about themselves instead of worse, because they're not keeping promises they made to themselves. Does that make sense?
Totally.
So progression is a big one. The other one is, I think one of the big ones is gratitude. When we're going through all this stuff, this adversity, can we still stay grateful? When you've heard like, keep a gratitude journal, right? Yeah. But be specific on those things. You could have having the crappiest day ever, but if you can be specific, like my 6-year-old came in and gave me this funny look today, right? Or my husband, gave me a hug in the kitchen. I'm so grateful for that. And you're staying grateful that you have the opportunity to even move forward at this next level. Mm-hmm. And so one of the cool things about if you just want to add happiness to your life is expressing gratitude. We could be in the middle of our biggest trial, the health trial, maybe a betrayal of a business partner or a loved one, a divorce, death, even of a child. That's probably one of the hardest things that anyone's going to have to go through. But here's the thing. Every adversity, no matter how bad, no matter how hard, has the benefit within it of equal or greater benefit to propel you forward. Every adversity. Mm-hmm. So instead of sitting there, why me? Oh, making yourself even more miserable, try to be more grateful that, okay, this is a hard one. What's the blessing? What's the seed inside here that I can learn and grow to get me faster to that next version of you? Because there's two of you. There's a guy or gal that is, and the one that is to be. And to go from here to here, it's not a straight line. It's like this. Right? And so you have to be willing to climb from peak to peak. You have to be clear on what this is that you're going for. Otherwise, it won't be worth it. You'll renegotiate along the way and either plateau, which is the same as going backwards, or you'll give up. So, when you go through these adversities, just know that it was a gift to help you grow into this person. And that will help you be a happier person, even in your hardest times, mm-hmm. even in your hardest times. And so all these adversities are for our good. So gratitude, letting go of things easier, forgiveness, and then stop killing yourself and having all this crap on your plate that you don't need to be doing, this overwhelm. If you can simplify your life and, if it doesn't grow you, your business, your faith, or your family, get rid of it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just delegate it or get rid of it in its entirety. And then you focus on the things that are going to get you to that second version of you and that are going to bring joy in your life.
That's awesome. Yeah, this is so good. Awesome. Well, we are going to take all of your time. I know I could just listen here forever, and I'm sure my listeners are thinking the same thing. But I do have 3 final questions I always like to ask. And then, anything specific that you would love to leave our listeners with before we wrap up. So first final question is, someone's looking for their purpose and, it's a common thing. People are like, I want to find my purpose. I want to find my purpose. What's one sentence you would say that could help them find that purpose?
It might not be right away, right? So just keep moving forward to that next version of you and chasing your next dream. You know, if you can write out 10 reasons why you want this dream life, non-monetary, not like I want to make $100,000 a year, but really like your deep whys. I want to do this for my mom. I want to retire my dad. I want to, whatever those 10 reasons why that really make you emotional, and not just one sentences, but like a paragraph and a half at least, or 2 pages if you if you can, that you can actually play a picture in your mind. Close your eyes and play a picture of retiring your dad or whatever it is. The more you dig deep, 10 reasons why, probably in one of those 10, you're going to feel something just wrench your gut, and it'll lead you to finding your purpose.
Good, like that. Number 2, and I'm sure you have lots, you hang out with a lot of people, so you hear a lot. What's your favorite quote that comes to mind right now, and why?
Quote. I mean, there's so many. My favorite affirmation is, I can do all things through Christ who strengtheneth me. I know that, I have more strength than beyond my own. So I can set the next bigger goal. And if it's a good one and it's a worthy goal, that I will be given help to achieve it. And I know that I was, given this, I don't know, big ask to write this book to help people. But that's one of my favorite affirmations that I read every day.
It's a good affirmation. I love that one. And number 3, what's one word or sentence that you want on your gravestone?
She built champions.
I like that one. That's really good. And what is some final thoughts, that we didn't touch on that you're like, I really want to make sure that people hear this message?
Just that you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. It doesn't matter where you came from. It doesn't matter what's happened to you. It doesn't matter if right now you're at your lowest point in your life. It doesn't matter. All that stuff is hard, and that's okay. It doesn't matter where you came from. All that matters is where you want to go. And if I can do it, this little girl grew up in poverty, on welfare in Montana. No one in my family has ever been successful. I came from an alcoholic family of multiple generations. All of my great-grandparents all came and immigrated here. My great-great-grandpa died in the streets from alcoholism. Other great-great-grandpa was shot behind a bar in a bar fight. And then it went down to the next generation of abusive alcoholic, and it was passed on. You can be the one. You can be the one that changes everything. One of my goals, I have 100, my business plan, my emotional game plan is 100, it goes 100 years past when I pass away, when my husband and I pass away.
Wow.
We're setting up a trust right now that it will fund any of our posterity, great grandkids, if they want to do any type of philanthropy, charity, missions. This will pay for that. And I want to be the one, like our great grandkids will say, they'll point to the picture of me and Sean over their mantle and say, that was them. That was great grandma Jamie and great grandpa Sean, and they're the ones that didn't quit.
Wow, that's so good, man. If that didn't stretch some of your guys' vision, listen again.
There's just nothing that I have that you don't already have. I don't have any special gifts, talents, all this stuff. All the tools I give you in this book are all very doable, tangible, and learnable. And so anyways, I'm excited, and I appreciate you having me on.
Oh man, I love it. Thank you so much for having on. Listeners, make sure to get this book. Make sure to read it. Make sure to pass it on. Follow Jaime, like I said, on Instagram or whatever. We'll have links and show notes and all that stuff in the bio. As always, go out there, make sure to change one life today. If we change one life or change one starfish, we can start to make a difference and change the world one person at a time. Thank you so much for being on today.
Awesome. Thank you.